Hello, this is Nova Topflex. In this video, this will be my first tech news video on the Nova Topflex channel. This is from XLibre's mailing list, Ancient X11 Scaling Technology Revealed. So, Alejandro Estay said specifically, quote, X cannot lie. It calculates directly based on DDC, DPI, or some manually set value. How is that bad? TrueType and OpenType fonts look spectacularly sharp with this. Why implement features and mitigate defects or limitations that X does not have? End quote. And ancient DPI dots per inch scaling technologies were revealed by an unknown FLAC user, or not FLAC, but rather website, and by lobster.rs. I will read the comments from the lobster.rs site with additional details, and I will also speak about the FLAC site as well. Speak about it. I am sorry if I said maintain. I do not maintain any of these sites officially, so let me start with this. And this is news, just in case you're wondering. So from FLAC, Forbidden Secrets of Ancient X11 Scaling Technology Revealed. So people keep telling the user that X11 does not support DPI scaling or any level of fractional scaling or multiple monitors, and that there's nothing possible to make it work, which is surprising, even though, now, from my personal experience, I have actually had success with all of these things, actually. DPI, fractional scaling, multiple monitors. I can use, and it is easy for me to use multiple monitors. I would say that multiple monitors is easier on X11 than Wayland. So here we have to try the impossible and see how far, according to FLAC. So just draw a 2-inch circle on the screen. This screen, that screen, any screen, the circle should always be 2 inches. Perhaps not the most exciting task, but it is isomorphic to any other scaling challenge. So within this FLAC, this person was able to figure out that his TV was 66.5 inches, not just 63 inches, as was purported by the manufacturer, LG, I believe. Now, just imagine it's the letter O or A button we wish to draw at a certain size. Now, this user has gathered around a few screens of different sizes and resolutions. Laptop screen, and then a bit to the right, a desktop monitor, and then a nice big TV. So, specifically, this says in millimeters, 302 by 189, and then 590 by 334, and then 1600 by 900 from EDP, DisplayPort 0, and DisplayPort 1, respectively. So we have XRNR, pipe, grep, / connected. EDP, that's usually, so this is probably a laptop with a 2880 by 1800 resolution. You will not see the sources I'm reading, though. So yes, EDP is internal, DisplayPort 0, DisplayPort 1, 2560 by 1440, and 3840 by 2160. So here we go. This also shows us that it is set up so that below the the laptop, and then because it's XY, so the X value keeps increasing. So this configuration was set up so that if the user turned the cursor to the right, it would go off of the internal and onto first, going right out of the laptop into the desktop monitor, and then the next right onto the nice big TV. The ending might have just been spoiled by the user, but so this user was trying to draw the circle with OpenGL using a simple shader and OBT, a bunch of not so exciting code for a window and a GLX context, but eventually the goal was to look at a specific shader. Not the best way to draw a circle, but it was the way for usage in this purpose. The full code was in circle.c for reference, and this is in Humongous, not FLAC, but it is still from Terunengst. And yes, so Humongous, and then we have the circle.c. So circle.c is indeed written in C as expected. So the user got a little carried away and made a pretty color wheel instead of a flat circle. This color wheel was indeed the distraction. Radius was supposed to be the key variable, but what about the shader? The goal was for this code in C to be with configure events. The X server telling us the window has been moved or resized. Something has had to change, and the goal was to figure out what happened and adjust accordingly. So this user was using, I believe, C to do this, and then physical width and virtual width are different structures, and the puzzle had to be put back together, but there it is. Some more code to expose handle events, the draw loop, etc., and that's it. So 3 differences. So left, then middle, then right. Laptop, then desktop, and then TV. Somebody at the factory apparently, so this user said screwed up, and the TV is actually 66.5, not the claimed 63 in terms of inches. So you shouldn't use a consumer LG TV for accurately measuring the scale of structural engineering diagrams, said. At least not without further calibration. The good news is that the impossible has been finished at this point. Even better was no mention that Flack wasn't actually running this program on the laptop, but on the router in another room, but everything worked as if by MIT Magic Cookie 1. Alas, we're still no closer to understanding why people say this is impossible. Even I know that multiple monitors work, and that fractional scaling works, and that DPI works. So I do not understand what's going on where people don't know that these are compatible with the X server when they say it's a Wayland situation. Now, XLibre is supposed to help us with all of this. We got lucky to have XLibre around to actually help us get in touch and get back on track away from the Wayland situation. I personally do not use Wayland on my computer system, and while I'm recording on OBS Studio, I am currently using Xorg or X11 for this recording. Now I'm going to go from Flack to the Lobster site, lobster.rs. So this was from flack.tedandx.com, now on lobster.rs. So the following users have responded. Now I'm going to react to the different comments here. SPC476 said, curious as to how ancient this technology was. Did some research. The program requires X11 R&R, which is rotate and resize, and GLX. X11 was first released in 1987 and XR&R in 2000. GLX came out in 2008.